Good afternoon, and welcome to the Learning Lab entitled Engaging Virtually with Your HCPs is Here to Stay. Are your field forces prepared? My name is Wendy Eicholzer. I'm the president of Whole Systems. Whole Systems is a custom learning solutions company located in Cambridge, Mass. Since 1993, we've been focused on training solely in the pharma and biotech industries. Thanks for taking the time today to learn a little bit more about how you can engage with your customers virtually. Let me ask you, how has life changed since the pandemic has started? I'm sure you agree that in the blink of an eye, it feels like everything became virtual. How has your training changed since the pandemic started? Again, sales training departments were asked to pivot quickly. All training became virtual, it seems like almost overnight. How has your sales representative selling approach changed? If you're like most of our clients, everything became virtual to some extent. As the crisis unfolded, Whole Systems started to develop a solution that would help you address these changes with your field forces. We know that your sales professionals are highly skilled when meeting with customers face to face. But in the new environment, it became clear that they needed to become skilled at communicating through virtual platforms as well. Is virtual engagement and selling really here to stay? According to an April 2020 McKinsey report, physicians expect that remote engagement with pharma reps will be a more prominent part of the interaction mix after the coronavirus crisis ends. It is clear that the ability to successfully engage and sell to HCPs virtually is going to remain a key part of overall sales activities for many field forces. How can you ensure they have the skills they need to make these virtual interactions effective? And once they are conducting a virtual sales call or lunch and learn, how can you ensure they are actually engaging the HCPs versus making a one-way didactic presentation? What if there's just crickets on the other end of the call? Sales forces that will succeed are the ones that learn how to excel in using a digital platform to connect with their customers. Today, we're going to show you how you can help your representatives enhance their current sales knowledge and experience with the critical skills that are unique to successful virtual engagement and selling. First, what do we mean when we say virtual selling? As you know, there are a variety of technical tools and platforms in use out there, from Zoom to Microsoft Teams to Viva Engage. The first imperative for most companies as they move to selling virtually is to make sure that representatives are fully trained on the technical aspects of the platform. How do I share my screen? How do I connect the audio? Once the technical features are mastered, representatives can focus on the skills needed to truly engage and sell to the clinician on the other side of the call, using approved digital resources and their company's chosen technology platform. As we looked at virtual selling and engagement across companies, different selling models, and various technology platforms, we identified three keys to success, three components of this type of selling that are critical to your end goal, which of course is creating common ground with your HCPs in these interactions. Those keys to success are dynamic virtual call planning, flawless virtual call execution, and immediate follow-through. Within each of these keys to success, what are the skills that are unique to virtual selling? Here's what we've identified that your sales reps need to learn. For dynamic virtual call planning, create call plans specifically for the virtual selling environment. Create your opening, as always. Develop real-world framing questions that will push the customer to frame what you're presenting back to you. Plan for the unexpected. Identify potential pivot points in which you might have to navigate to a different resource. Prepare for technical glitches in the technology. Prepare your customer for the virtual sales call. Schedule and conduct a quick technology practice session with someone in the HCP's office, maybe the day before your meeting with the HCP. Protect your appointment. Send a reminder email to confirm. And finally, practice and then practice some more. One thing we've learned in teaching these skills is how critical repeated practice is to help reps gain confidence. For flawless virtual call execution, skills include, as always, an effective opening to the call. And as you move into your discussion of key messages and begin to share your digital resources, one skill that is unique to virtual selling is engaging the HCP using framing questions. These open-ended questions require the HCP to respond with their interpretation of the information presented. In other words, to frame the information back to you to create a dialogue. Active listening is another key component. Use your voice intonation and pitch to show empathy and concern, and leverage silence. Leave pauses as you present key messages for the HCP to synthesize the information and to clarify any questions in their own minds. This is often one of the hardest things for reps to do in a virtual interaction. In the world of virtual selling, digital agility is key. What do we mean by digital agility? It's knowing how to navigate between approved resources effortlessly on your platform and being able to pivot with skill in response to HCP questions or concerns. And as with opening, closing is just as important in the virtual sales call as it is in the in-person sales call. And the third key to success is immediate follow-through. In the virtual setting, what approved resources have you identified in your call planning to be the most relevant to send to the HCP? How can you make sure that all materials are being sent within compliance guidelines that exist for virtual engagement, such as the use of approved organization email templates? Defining next steps, determining the actions required on your part based on your agreements with the HCP. To teach these skills, Whole Systems has created a program called Virtual Selling, Making the Connection. The program has several components. A virtual selling module. Participants complete this interactive module that introduces the virtual selling keys to success and emphasizes the skills that result in flawless virtual call execution. A participant toolkit is used throughout the program. It includes materials for virtual call planning. Each participant completes call plan worksheets for 2 customers, as well as a worksheet focused on the gatekeeper. For our materials for a practice with a peer session, we found that it's critical to give representatives a safe space to practice using their resources within the platform in a one-on-one way before coming together in a larger group. Module and practice activities are assigned across a calendar week. At the end of the week, participants come together in a team session. During this 2-hour session led by training or a manager, they share their experiences from practicing delivery of their call plans, discuss best practices, and apply the skills that are unique to virtual selling. Finally, managers are provided with a coaching guide to help them coach and pull through the program skills in the field after the training using a coaching checklist. Let's take a minute to hear from Michael DeAgostine, Associate Director of Sales Training and Development at Theravance Biopharma, about his experiences in implementing training for virtual selling and engagement.
When our sales team was pulled out of the field due to the pandemic in early March, as Associate Director of Sales Training for my organization, it was really my responsibility to come up with a plan of action for how we would train people to engage HCP customers in the hospital setting during the pandemic. And I kind of look at this whole situation like sculpting fog. It was so new to all of us. We really didn't know what we would do or how we would go about doing it. And then my main partner in all of my training initiatives is Whole Systems Learning Solutions. And so early on, I reached out and had several meetings with Wendy Eicholzer and Allie Glass, and we talked through it a little bit about what some of the needs really were. And I typically spend a lot of my time in my meetings with Wendy and Allie just listening to them because they have such a great grasp of what the needs are in any specific market. So we had multiple meetings and we came up with a game plan on how we would actually collaborate in building a remote HCP engagement for our field team, again, with our focus being hospital HCPs. And that adds a whole different dynamic and some complexity around it. I made Wendy and Allie aware from the get-go that although the digital agility piece was a small portion of what we wanted to accomplish with this training, the bigger piece for me was just after we're able to connect and secure remote meetings with HCP or any facility stakeholder, how we actually get them to engage in dialogue. It's certainly easy for a salesperson to read the body language and get some visual cues of a customer when you're in a face-to-face sales situation. But from a remote standpoint, that was new to all of us. And what learnings could we put together to help people build that foundation and also build the confidence to engage in ongoing discussions? And true to form with whole systems, both Wendy and Allie, after a few meetings, we went through a couple passes. And I would say within about 3 weeks, we had close to a final product of a training module that I was able to roll out to our sales team. And because of the success of the rollout, several key stakeholders within my organization are now looking at a similar program that Wendy and Allie will hopefully be building for different departments who have different end customer needs, as they'll also be engaging in remote customer presentations and meetings. So I thank Wendy and Allie to the highest degree, and I know that I'm thankful that I did find them several years ago, and their end product always exceeds expectations.
We hope that you found this learning lab helpful as you consider how to prepare your field forces for virtual selling and engagement now and in the future. Thank you for your attention.